I'm Ryan, you're watching 60 Cycle Hum, and in this video, obviously, I'm going to be showing you this guitar. I'm going to play it, you're going to hear it, I'm going to tell you everything you need to know about it. But more importantly than that, I'm going to get you acquainted with this brand because there's a really good chance you've never even heard of High Spirit guitars before. That's because it is a small one-man operation here in San Diego. That's right, it's a local brand. I'm honestly really excited about that because he's building stuff so deeply in my stylistic wheelhouse. Look at this thing. Yeah, this is me. I don't just mean it's the same color as me, but the way he organizes everything, the way he designs his guitars is very much within my tastes. And beyond that, I mean, they just play fantastic. I've had this guitar around for about 2 weeks now. I've been having a blast playing it. I like this thin, resonant style body. It's a smaller style body. Believe it or not, even though I'm a big guy, I tend to like smaller body styles. In fact, it very much reminds me of playing my Duo Sonic. Similar body thickness going on there, similar kind of body dimensions, different scale length. Obviously, the Duo Sonic is a 22 3/4 inch scale, super duper short. This is a more standard 24 5/8. I think I remembered that right, scale. So it's a more standard scale, but it still has that light, small sort of body feel to it. Let's talk about the builder. When I say that he builds them, he really builds them. Like, there's not a lot on this guitar that he didn't build. It's really normal for a small builder to make their own necks. Yeah, he's making his own necks. He's hand shaping his own necks. It's really common for a builder to make their own bodies. Yeah, he's doing that. He's making the body. He designed it. He cut it. He painted it. The whole thing. What is uncommon is for a builder to come up with their own pickup design. And he's done that. Look at these pickups. He calls them hot dog pickups. He winds them in his kitchen. He says that the magnet design is reminiscent of a P90, but then the similarity is kind of in there. Fully custom. Nothing off the shelf here. I mean, he's got to buy the wire and the magnets and stuff like that. He's not forging magnets. But like these covers, he makes those. He mills those covers out of solid blocks of polyester resin. Who's doing that? I can't think of really any guitar builders off the top of my head that have their own style of pickup that they make. And he can put other pickups in these. He can put, you know, more common style pickups in them, but these are his style, and that's wild. Beyond that, I'm not done. He designed, mills, makes his own style of bridge. He has his own bridge design, guys. And the tailpiece. He designed this and milled this. He's making all this hardware. The pickups and the hardware, he's making them. That's wild. And you're probably thinking, because this is what I thought, oh, this guitar is going to be like $2 grand, $3 grand, $4 grand, something like that. This guitar that I'm holding right now is $1,300. All this stuff tends to float in this like $1,300 to $1,500 range, which is honestly super duper reasonable for guitars that are being made. So custom as this, so unique as this, by one builder. It's just wild. The guy hates money or something like that. I don't know. So anyways, let's get into it. I want to play around with it. You want to hear it. Let's do both. Something else interesting about these pickups is that apparently he has them designed so that he can swap out the magnets in them. In this specific set, he currently has Alnico 2 magnets, which he says are going to be very warm and smooth sounding. And I believe it because this is a jazzy sounding guitar. This is not a twang guitar. This is a thuddy, warm, kind of smooth sounding guitar with the pickups as they are right now. We're on the neck pickup right now. Hear that? Really smooth. Really warm too. Even on the bridge pickup. They have this like percussive thud to them. You get some more sparkle in the middle position. But it's still not a twangy guitar. I'd be curious to hear what it sounds like with different magnets in those pickups. I want to know if he can make one of these pickups to sound super duper like Telecaster twangy or something like that. I'm sure he could. So anyways, let's hit him with some dirt. Let's see how they hit dirt. I actually think that these pickups sound really great with high gain stuff. Even though they're single coils, they really push like high gain distortion really well. Let's start out with some fuzz first though. We'll start out on the bridge pickup. I'm going to use the Twin Bender by Ramble Effects. I just got that in recently and I'm really loving it. The neck pickup. Middle position. All right, on to some light overdrive from the 50-50 on the bridge position. Neck position. And the middle position, of course. And now, HM2, heavy metal, right? Neck pickup. And the middle position. Let's throw on a little bit of delay for some funsies, right? I lost the script a little bit there at the end, but that's not a surprise. It's just a treat. This guitar is just a treat to play. So yeah, honestly, the pickups don't do the bright, twangy, surfy, hollow sort of thing that I usually look for in my single coils, but I've been having a great time with them. I really like the way they hit dirt. I really like how warm and smooth and jazzy they are. It's a really nice kind of break from the sorts of ice picky sounds I usually dabble in. I'm going to say it right now. The builder offered to pay my demo rate to do this coverage. And obviously, you know, I'm not going to turn that down, but I'm going to turn that demo fee into a deposit for a build for my own high spirit guitars. If there's ever been, you know, a way to tell if a demo guy, if a YouTube guitar guy legitimately loves something, it's whether or not he throws his own money into it, and that's what I'm going to do. So take that to mean whatever you think it means. I'm going to get one of these. I'm going to throw my own money, my own time into getting one. I'm going to talk to him about getting a bridge pickup that does have that twangy characteristic, and then I can lean into the neck pickup for a warm, jazzy sound, because I think it works so well with this guitar. Let's try to do some surfy stuff right now. Turn on the Surfy Bear reverb. Ooh. Man, it just slams that spring into drip. It's just not that twangy sound, you know? It sounds great. It really does. It plays great. It feels great. I love how resonant this thin body is. It just feels right to me. Really great build. Really comfortable guitar. The price point, I don't know how he does it. $1,300, I think I said, is what he's asking for this specific guitar. What else do I say about it? I'm probably going to kick myself in editing because I forgot to say very specific things about it. I'll have close-up photos that I've scattered throughout. Close-up photos of the pickups, of the bridge, of the stop tail here. This is the previous version of the bridge that has the brass tray. Apparently the newer versions have a nickel tray. I'll throw up pictures of the fret ends and things like that. The truss rod is adjusted down here. Any questions you have, ask me or hit up High Spirit Guitars on Instagram or wherever else you can find them. I'm stoked, guys. So anyways, stay tuned. There's going to be that interview section right after this, and I'm going to play some clips of me playing some of the other High Spirit guitars that were in the shop there. And you know what? Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, dislike, leave me a rude and nasty comment, support us on Patreon, do all that stuff when you're done watching the interview, and stay grounded. Bye, everybody.
everyone, I'm Ryan, and I'm here with Connor. We're at Moe's Guitars in La Mesa, California, which is kind of a San Diego institution.
It's an icon.
Yeah, it's been here forever. But he's the guy behind High Spirit Guitars. He builds them out of here and various other places. You were telling me you build them
My apartment.
in the apartment,
In my parents' house.
in the kitchen, in the bathroom.
Yeah.
Wherever things need to get done.
Not quite the bathroom, but the kitchen, yeah.
Okay, not the bathroom. You're not like winding pickups on the toilet or anything like that?
No, I do those in my kitchen. I got a crock pot out with my, everything. And my winder.
Yeah.
It's small. It's compact. It works.
Home cooked pickups.
Yes.
So anyways, you make High Spirit guitars.
Yep.
They're really freaking cool. And I want to show them off. You want to show them off. You want people to know about them, obviously.
Yep.
I think people should know about them. We've got, a local builder here that's making really cool stuff. You're making not only the necks and the bodies,
Right.
but you're also making your own pickups.
Yep.
You're making
in my kitchen.
In his kitchen, home cooked pickups.
So these are kitchen pickups.
You're making your own bridge hardware.
Yes.
You're making your own stop tail hardware.
Yep.
You're making or having made your own knobs, your own pick guards.
Yes.
Like, what are you not making? It doesn't seem like there's much left.
This switch and the pots, and that's this of course, but I might make that eventually.
The neck plate.
Yeah, I just haven't come up with a cool design.
And obviously, you're buying. You're buying the tuners. You're not making the tuners because who would do that? That's too much.
Right.
But that's pretty incredible. Like, there's a lot of builders out there that are doing something closer to assembling parts. They might make the neck, they might make the body.
Right.
But they're not necessarily making pickups, and they're certainly not making bridges and stop tail like metal hardware and stuff like that.
Sure, yeah. So I pretty much, design this and prototype it, and then I'll have somebody cut it out, and then I, assemble them like the bridges and things like that. So
right. So you're not doing the milling of the metal, but it's your design and you're having it made for your guitars.
Pretty much, yeah. And I do the prototypes when I mill them, but as far as manufacturing, it's just easier for me to have someone, crank them out for me because I'm only one person and I only have so much daylight.
Right. So you have milled the metal before to make the prototypes.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. All of my early ones are milled by me.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So you can do it, you just don't want to.
I just don't have the time. I'm trying to figure out how to do less, have more of my own thing, but less time put into it because there's, working for yourself. And I work in a repair shop too. So it's like between the two, it's like finding the time to do all this stuff is, kind of difficult.
Right. So how long have you been doing this and how did you get started?
Well, I started about 2000, let's say 10 years ago.
Okay.
Somewhere in there. And I started because I was going to college. I was working on a graduate's degree, and that didn't really work too well for me because I grew up in an environment where I was always making things. And so I started repairing my own guitars and amps and things, and I kind of felt natural in that sort of habitat. So I decided that I was going to go to school and figure out, learn the trade way of doing this. So I went to the Gallup School of Luthery in Michigan, Big Rapids, Michigan. So I went there and I learned some of the basics, and then I started working here about 5 years ago, and which has been really cool because I've learned the very old school way of doing it. Because the guys around here have been doing it since probably the early 70s, and so that was really cool because I've learned different ways of doing things, and as I've done it, I've kind of morphed into a more modern technology of way of doing things because I use machines and whatnot, and so so I can do it in an efficient manner, and then I can make a product that's not ridiculously expensive.
That's something that I noticed. You've got prices on a few of these that we're hanging on the wall, and for something that's so completely custom, your prices are honestly really reasonable. Like this guitar right here has a tag on it for $1,300.
Yeah.
And you've got hand-wound pickups on it that he made in his kitchen. They probably got like salt and pepper in them or something like that.
Right.
A little bit of oregano.
Cajun spice, right?
You've got, custom milled hardware on here. You made the neck, you made the body, you did all this stuff, and you're only charging $1,300 for it. Why do you hate money?
Yeah.
Why don't you want to make a living?
Because because I love living in a little apartment and I want to stay there. No.
You don't want to hit a different tax bracket.
Well, that's part of it. No, I like free health insurance. No, the reason I make them so affordable is because most of, especially working here, I've found most of our customers and people I deal with are actual musicians, and I've always wanted to. I like seeing my stuff being played. And going out and seeing people perform with my instruments, which is really hard right now. But I figured if I charge $2 or $3 grand for something, it's gonna be a lot harder for regular musicians to, really latch onto it. And so that was always kind of something like a thing that I wanted to keep in mind. So as I've made guitars, I've kind of developed a process so that it's efficient. Like I'm not wasting my time. So like this guitar, it'll take me about, I'll usually do a lot of them, like 6. Mm-hmm. And so it will take me about 2 weeks to do 6 of them. So if I sell them at $1,200 and I do them in batches like that, it's a lot more efficient than me building one guitar for somebody.
So you're saying that you can build 6 guitars in a run in about 2 weeks?
Yeah, working time.
That's pretty wild.
Yeah.
That's start to finish. That's everything.
Pretty much, yeah. So a whole day I'll spend like sanding bodies.
Yeah.
And I'll get like, probably a day or day and a half I'll get all the bodies done, and then I'll do the necks. And so I usually do a whole bunch of necks at once. And so that way I can just cut them all out, and then I will, put the fretboards all on. I make the truss rods on a lathe.
You make the truss rods?
Yeah, but it's pretty simple. It's just like you have a die and you cut them, and I just use, basically I make them like the old Fenders. They have just a steel rod with, an anchor, and then you just got to thread both ends.
Is there a reason why you make the truss rod instead of like buying a pre-made one?
Well, it's cheaper to buy the material and make it, and if you have a lathe, it doesn't take very long, and so or some sort of tool to do it. And the reason also I do it is because I prefer the old style truss rod, just because it resonates a little better, because they tend to put like a rubber strip on them or something inside. So I basically make these necks like the old pre-CBS kind of Fender necks. They're just not the same scale, not the same shape. It's just the same construction.
This is the first time I've ever heard anyone talk about the resonance of a truss rod.
Yeah.
And it's amazing to me because you'd think that would be a common like cork sniffery level thing to go to, like on internet discussions.
Well, yeah, it is kind of, and it was something I kind of grabbed onto right when I started, and if I would be thinking about it now, I'd probably be like, oh, it's not important. But I tried a few different materials, and they all sounded a little different. But there's so many factors in guitars, and so to say that like the truss rod is is going to make your guitar sound, really, fabulous.
Sure.
It's completely, there's
Guys,
so many other little things going on. So anyways.
Take your guitars in, get your truss rod swapped out. It'll sound better.
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of one of those things, and it's just something I enjoy making everything too also. And I just prefer that style of truss rod, and it's just for me, like, there's little things and they all kind of add up, and so like if I can organize as many of the little factors into making a good sounding instrument,
Right.
I'm gonna do it. So.
Is there anything that you're not able to make that you wish you could make? On these? Like you wish you could like smelt your own ore for the frets or something like that? Or?
Oh, yeah. No, I mean, no.
Harvest
really,
your own bone for the nuts? I don't know.
I'm really determined. I mean, that would be really easy for me to do. I mean, there's plenty of, people that have crossed me a few times.
Oh, look out. He's got a lot of bones laying around.
Yeah. No, but I can't think of anything.
Yeah. You could do custom string trees to match
I've
your hardware
actually
aesthetic.
thought about that. Yeah. I've thought about making a little custom.
Do you paint
string
the bodies too?
Yes. Yeah.
Wow.
And the bodies are nitro.
That's a lot of different disciplines you've got going into your guitars, man.
Which is a pain in the butt, but I really like. The reason I like nitro is not because it sounds better. It's because I like instruments that you wear over time and they have their own history, and so this style of finish lends really well to aging. And so it's not like an indestructible robot, that. It comes back from, 1980 and it still looks the same. It still looks like it has its plastic covering on it. In about 10 years or so, it'll look like, something that's been played. And that is something I enjoy because I like seeing, especially some of the instruments I've built for people and I see them now, they come back to me and they're just completely worn. And I have a friend, I made one of my first guitars for it. It's funny because he always lays his guitar on stage and he just throws it around, but it's still it's his thing and it has all of his little history in it. And that's what I really like about this finish is it has that quality to it where it kind of wears. It's like a good pair of jeans.
Totally. As a builder, how do you feel about relics? Would you ever do a pre-relic guitar for someone, or do you prefer to sell them?
Yeah, sometimes I have relics, and usually it's because it's like this body that cracked, and then it hangs out in my shop for 2 years and gets bounced around, and then I'll put it together and it just looks relict.
There you go.
So, it's like you could pay all that money, but if you just play the damn thing and do what my friends do and just lean them up against your amp and have them fall over and all that stuff, and leave them in your car overnight where it's really cold and they'll get checking and I like to see it happen naturally.
Totally.
And also I kind of figure if you relic something and then you play the crap out of it, it's eventually going to look so relict that it's just
you went too far.
You just went too far. I don't know. So that's just an opinion.
Oh sure. Well, that's why I asked, because it's an opinion.
Yeah, exactly. It's I do like seeing some guitars relict. They have a really cool. If it's done really well, it looks great. But there's not a whole lot of people doing it. Even Fender's stuff. I don't know if I can say Fender.
You can say Fender.
Okay. Some of their stuff looks really good, and then some of it's just this is overkill.
Yeah.
What happened?
I don't like it when I don't mind a relic, but I don't like it when it moves into fantasy territory.
Right.
If it's gonna move into fantasy territory, go all the way. Make it look like it was in a shipwreck or something. There's barnacles on it,
Right.
But don't make it look like no person alive could have reliced this guitar in the time that it's existed.
Right. It's seen 3 wars.
Right. This guitar is 6,000 years old.
Yeah.
It's a fossil.
Yeah, exactly.
Tell me about your pickups, because that's really interesting to me. You call them hot dog pickups.
Yeah.
And they look like big fat sausages.
Right.
They're held in by 4 screws, so you have a full-size plate behind these things.
Yeah, that was kind of to fix, you P90s, you have the 2 screws, and sometimes, as a repair person, it always annoyed me that the pickup sometimes wants to be forward like this, and you got to prop it up with foam, and it was always kind of janky. So what I did is I did 4 screws so that you can keep it pretty level with the strings, and that way it's not moving around as you're playing it. It's really solid, but it's still adjustable. And so I did that, and then the whole construction is like these ones are actually made out of these covers. I make these covers out of.
He makes the covers.
Out of it's what's it called? Polyester.
Yeah.
Resin. And so I don't cast the resin, I just buy blocks of it. And this is like.
And then you mill the blocks
I mill
of resin.
it and then route the corners over, and then I sand it all smooth, and then I buff it out on a buffer.
What would you say the pickups are kind of lineage-wise? Like what's their pedigree? Like what do they sound like? What do they perform like?
The construction's a lot like a P90. It has the two magnets on the bottom. But the bobbin, I changed the size of the bobbin to give it a little bit different flavor. And so if you're, if you like P90s and you always wanted them to be like a little bit more open or something, these might, work out for you. I kind of stuck with that style of pickup, but I changed it quite a bit. And originally I wanted to make these modular so you could buy different magnets and change the covers or do whatever. And I haven't got that far yet, but that was my initial plan. That's one of the reasons I designed it this way, is so you could easily take it apart and, like change the guts.
Yeah.
Buy different coils or whatever. And so that's kind of where I was going with it. I was eventually going to make a humbucker version in the same shape.
In that same size?
Same exact thing, so you could plug them into your...
That'd be fun.
Yeah.
That would be a really fun looking humbucker. Would it have the pole pieces, or would it be like a blade thing?
Yeah, it
or?
would be... actually, I was going to do 3 on each side.
Ah.
So 3 and 3, and it'd be like a mini humbucker. So that's kind of a plan for my future, but I haven't... Really...
I like the sound of that.
Yeah, so... And the same thing with the pick guard. If you notice...
Which one do you want me to grab?
The green one. I designed these 2 guitars and have the same pick guards. And so one of the reasons I did that was in the future, if you bought one of my guitars in either shape or form, you could switch out your pick guards easily.
I really like the pickguard materials you used to. You've got the anodized here,
aluminum.
And then this like semi-transparent tort. Usually this kind of tort is backsprayed with a metallic, but I like that you left it semi-transparent so you can see the routing in there, and you get some of the seafoam green, like coming through the color. It's a really unique look.
Yeah, that's the interesting thing about most torts is like, depending on what color they're on, they can look really good or really bad, So it's like kind of like, but celluloid's so much fun.
Yeah.
And finding really cool stuff is kind of difficult. So that was left over from a job I did a few years ago.
And he's got other stuff that I've seen back in his workshop that's really stunning too, like all these different confetti torts and cellulites and stuff like that. He's got cool stuff. But this one you did a telly sort of layout, and you even put that tort as the cap on the bridge pickup.
I didn't make these. These are actually Gemini pickups.
Oh, okay.
He's in Vermont. I could be wrong. He's gonna hate me if I say the wrong. But anyways,
we'll swap it out with like a voiceover later if we need to.
Rob's back east, and he's a really cool dude. He makes some weird stuff, and a lot of builders are using his stuff right now. I think Abernathy uses a lot of this stuff, and like Fry guitars and things. A lot of people are doing the same thing I'm kind of doing, but he makes some really cool pickups. So if you have a chance, check out his website. He's a
cool.
mad scientist of pickups.
I'll try to track that down and put a link down below if you guys want to check out his pickups. Anything you want to say about this model, and we'll check out one of the other models?
No, it's a shorter scale. It's not a Fender scale length.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's a 24 and 5/8, so it's a little bit...
24 and 5/8.
Yeah, that's like earlier Gibsons were 24 and 5/8.
Well, it's kind of similar to like a Jaguar sort of scale, yeah.
I think, what are Jaguars? Is it 24?
24 and 3/4, I think. I might be totally wrong. They might be 24 even.
It's 24 something.
It's 24 something.
Yeah.
Yeah. I want to grab one of these other guys back here. You've got 2 other models. What do you call the models, by the way? What was the model, those last 2?
Those, I kind of call them based on their color. They're relatively new, so I haven't really developed a name for them. Usually I stick with birds of prey, so
Okay.
like, raptors of some sort. But because I always loved hawks, so I call the pink one the flamingo hawk, and so.
So you don't have different names for the body styles.
This one I call the red tail.
The red tail.
This
okay.
one's been around a little bit longer. This one I had at the NAMM show earlier this year.
I really like this shape a lot because it's kind of a throwback to an old Yamaha shape.
Yeah.
Like the shape of the guitar that Link Ray used. I think it was the SG2 or 3, one of those. One is the shape like this, and the other one is the shape with the long, crazy bottom horn.
Yeah, that amiibo looking thing.
Yeah. But I really like that you leaned into that kind of inspiration for one of your guitars, because that's an underappreciated shape. And then this is kind of a take on, man, it's kind of like in a Telecaster meets like Ernie Ball, Albert Lee-ish kind of Dan Electro vibe.
Yeah.
From the shape. It's hard to pin it down.
It kind of reminds me of a K Vanguard a little bit.
There you go.
But when I made this, one of my friends who's a graphic designer, he drew up a guitar, and I made it for him a long time ago. And then, anyways, I liked part of his shape, so I was like, "Can I borrow part of your shape?"
Just part of it.
And actually, I said, "Could I borrow your guitar? I'm gonna design a guitar."
Uh-huh.
And so, anyways, I designed a guitar based off that shape, and it ended up, as I was working on it, just kept morphing into this. And it's very different, actually. And I showed it to him, and he's like, "That doesn't look anything like my guitar." And I was like, "Well,
sorry."
So anyways, that's where it kind of started. And then what was interesting, though, is this pickguard fits this really well. And I actually designed this pickguard for the other guitar.
Yeah.
And so when I stuck it on here, when I was working on the shapes, I was like, "Oh, it's perfect."
It can go back and forth between the two.
It was like meant to be. So it just kind of happened to land on here too.
Yeah, it works on this. I mean, you designed it for the other one, and it's neat because the angles on it contrast the kind of curvy shape.
Right.
But then this one, it works so well because you have this
line.
line.
It follows these two lines here
continuing through.
almost perfectly.
Yeah, that's really fascinating. That's a good look. You've got some good looking stuff, man. Co Schneider, friend of the show, brought me by your NAMM booth. And I didn't forget it, I'll say that. I really like the aesthetics of what you do. So this one's got a different kind of cover on your pickups here. It looks kind of like wood, but what is that?
Oh, this is like a composite. It's Richlight.
It's Richlight.
They use it for countertops, things like that. It's super durable, so it's great for making things out of, because it'll probably last longer than the wood on this guitar.
And you milled that too out of a block?
Yeah, I mill it out of a block, and then
That's so wild.
yeah, it really smells, but it's got like formaldehyde in it, so
Gotcha.
it preserves your innards for a while if you breathe it.
They'll never go bad. These pickups will never go bad.
I might actually live longer now that I've inhaled some of it.
You're preserved. And this one's got a chrome version of your bridge.
Yeah, that's the old obsolete one. This one's actually here.
The prototype.
To get this replaced. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Well, cool.
And this is the new one.
That's
So,
yep. This is the production model that's got kind of like the brass ring on it.
Yeah, this was one of the earlier ones. They're now nickel, but I had it done in brass because I wanted to try out brass.
And this is nickel?
This is aluminum.
Aluminum.
Yeah.
Okay.
But a lot of my pieces are made out of aluminum. It's just lighter, and
Yeah.
it also doesn't rust, so that's kind of nice.
We all know aluminum. It's one of our favorite
Aluminium.
metals, right? Yeah. As they say in Europe, aluminum.
Aluminum.
So anyways, I think I'm going to just fart around playing with some of these guitars. And then I think I'm going to take one or two of them home with me and do some extended coverage, if that's still okay.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, okay. That's what he wanted me to do originally.
Yeah.
And now I'm getting this. I'm getting this look like, oh, you're going to what?
No.
No, I'm going to pick one or two to take home and kind of jam around and come up with, kind of my more detailed thoughts on them in my home space. So that'll be fun. But thanks a lot for having me out here. I think these guitars are really cool. I think the price is fantastic, what you're charging for these. Honestly, you should be charging more.
Yeah, I get that a lot. Yeah.
Well, you probably should be to make a living off these things, or put some money in your pocket. And honestly, like the amount of customization you're doing, the amount of just stuff that you're building for these, like I don't see those on guitars that are going for like $3,000 and stuff.
Right.
People are still plopping on masteries and stock tremolos and stock tunamatics and things like that in that price range. The fact that you're custom milling or having you custom designed and are having your hardware milled, you're custom building your very own pickups. They're not like, oh, he built a PAF or he built a Strat pickup. He's making his own pickup, like his own design, and you can get these things south of $2,000 is bonkers to me.
Yeah.
And they're beautiful. I really love the look of these things. So anyways, stay put. I'm about to start jamming. I think that was good.
Yeah.
Did that feel good?
Yeah, it feels pretty good.